What's up, folks? This is Kyle Thomas from Exhorter, and you're watching Aftershocks TV.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So next up now on the list here, I want to bring up real quick here. So we did an episode a couple of months ago, I guess. Kind of maybe like the first 10 episodes or so. I think we did. We were talking about Live Nation. Okay, everyone's favorite conglomerate, Live Nation. Live Nation, as we know, they have the On the Road Again, which is just to recap real quick. Basically, Live Nation owns a ton of venues that they brought up, especially over the pandemic. And if you agree to play in their venues only, and you sign up for this On the Road Again thing, they'll basically, not charge you for when you sell your merch. They won't take a cut. They'll give you gas cards and all these little goodies and the chocolates and stuff like that we were talking about, right? All right. So as we were talking and when we had this discussion, I think we both agreed that this is not good for music. Now, of course, if people look at it, especially bands that are losing money to, the venues that are charging for their, to taking a cut of their merch. Yeah. You look at that and you go, okay, well, this is a good thing because you would get, we're getting more money to stay out on the road. That's why it's called On the Road Again. Right. But as we know, a conglomerate like that isn't doing anything to help anybody but themselves. None of them do. And so because of that, now there has been some news, lately over the last few weeks that, Live Nation is getting sued by the U.S. Department of Justice. Okay. They're reportedly preparing, I should say, to sue them for breaking antitrust laws. So according, just to, think it'll journalistic here politically, but the U.S. Department of Justice basically is saying that they're using their influence over the live events space to actively harm competition. And I don't think that's any secret. That's exactly what On the Road Again is doing. But like I said, it hasn't been filed yet, so who knows? It could be smoke and mirrors just to keep all of us thinking, or the government's trying to do something when all that means is Live Nation's now going to pay these politicians some more money on the table, which is probably what it means. But
the lobbyists will come in, and that's probably
absolutely. Yep, exactly. So, but this is now. I'm going to bring this thing up real quick. This is a venue here in San Francisco called Bottom of the Hill. Okay, it's probably my favorite club venue, smaller club venue. I've seen a bunch of bands there. I love it. It's been there for years, decades. It's a real staple, okay, here in San Francisco. So they put this thing out on Facebook here, okay? And I don't want to necessarily read a word for it. Everyone can kind of read, but basically doing a bit of a, like he says here, public service announcement, letting everybody know. As you can see right here where it says the big guys, right? They're basically saying that venues are fragile and in danger right now, and the big guys, meaning Live Nation, are waiting very patiently in the wings for the venues to fail so they can come take it over. This is what we've been talking about. And like you said, they've already taken over dates at other venues, and a lot of the venues got to basically make a deal with the Devils, they're saying, if they want to stay open. And a lot of them, I guess, are doing it. So I love this venue. Like I said, they're not doing it. And I give them all the credit in the world for sticking and saying, hey, if we're going to go under, we're going to go down doing it our way. And like I said, this place has been there for decades, man. I mean, like they said, this is basically the place where every big band that started out at, so again, this isn't, like I said, we weren't just blowing hot air, talking about this. This is a reality. Venues are closing. And this isn't just in San Francisco. It's going on across the whole country. And sooner or later, if this continues and people don't support going to these venues and then just waiting to buy the next big $300 ticket to go see a big show at an arena, we're going to be stuck with shit. You know what I mean? It's the bottom line. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
I think you're right, Tim. I was looking up, doing a little bit of research, a couple of things to touch on here. I'm just going to read from some of this, but small venues. So just some statistics here. I was looking across the UK, Toronto, US, Canada, US, and so you can probably amplify that down here. That overall concert attendance in 2023 is up by 20%. Now, It's up on the big Taylor Swifts and the Metallicas and Elton
Yeah.
Johns and whoever's touring, right? Because, you know, classic rock sells, pop sells, rap
Sure.
sells. We get it, right? So you think if they're up 20%, then and a ticket is $200 or $300 or $500, whatever it is, and you're a regular concert goer, and your smaller venue are $50, you're actually taking 550s at $250 to go, well, now I don't really have any more money to go to the smaller gigs because I've blown it on the big ones.
Exactly.
So that's feeding into it.
Yep.
100%. I was looking across the UK. They've lost 125 small clubs. The UK is a relatively small country.
Small country, yeah.
Australia has lost a third of all small venues, a third in the entire country. There's no stats that I could find today for the US. I'm sure it's there. And in some of the reasons why that, a couple of reasons. One I just touched on. If somebody's going to Taylor Swift or Metallica or U2, whatever, and they're paying, you know, $400 or $500, they don't have an extra $50 for the smaller venue the week after because they spend half the rent on one gig.
Yeah.
They're kind of tapped out. But the rents are getting really high in the venues themselves. Like, so their own insurances and their overheads and their costs and security and lights and all that kind of shit. People are drinking less. They're drinking less for a couple of reasons. Number one, they don't want to get caught drink driving going home. And second of all, you're going to pay $14 for a fucking can of beer.
Yep.
Right? So you might go in and have one beer. They make a lot of money on bar. We know that. So then
they make most of their money, yeah.
Of course they do. So the rates being high, the drinking less, they're going to the bigger concert, which means they're not going to the smaller concerts. So therefore you're taking money from the venue, first of all, by not going, and then who is going, you're not going to spend a fortune when you're there. And but there's a proposal in the UK. Do you know the band Enter Shikari or Enter something like that? Enter Shikari. I think they're kind of like an alternative indie rock band. They played Wembley Arena, for goodness sake, for 12,000 people. So they're pretty big, right?
Pretty big, yeah.
I gotta look them up, but they're the only band that I know that did this. That they gave $1. They gave like a pound, an English pound, back to local venues for every ticket that they sold. So they, made $12,000 went back into sound. They're the only band that's done it. But there's a proposal in the UK now to do this for all venues, of raising it by, I think the equivalent in dollars, $1.26. But then the other argument is, who's going to pay it? Is it going to be added to the ticket fee? Is the venue going to pay it, or is the artist going to pay it? So whilst this discussion is going on, it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. Because
this trend is going to continue. That these smaller venues, that I love going to smaller venues, love it. I'm like a pig in shit when I'm in a 500-seater small hall.
So am I.
I love it. That's where I want to be. I don't want to be in an arena, even though I'm going to see Judas Priest in an arena in 2 weeks' time. It's not my go-to. And stadiums, forget about it. I have no interest in that.
Well, it's not intimate, and that's the thing. It's the intimacy. It's being close to the stage. It's being locked in a room here, with a couple hundred people, like you said, who love this stuff as much as you do. And when you go to, like you said, a big arena, you're getting a lot of free tickets that are handed out. And I think you said, then you're paying $20 a freaking beer. I mean,
parking. Don't forget, parking could be
parking,
$15, $20 that
absolutely.
night. Or Uber's in, Uber's out if you're drinking, whatever. So.
Or even if you drive, like you said, parking, exactly. And Ubers are more expensive. So no matter how, even if you take a public transportation, it's not cheap. So it's again, it's just one of those things where, I mean, there's no, immediate solution. Listen, I give credit to some, bands that try to do what they can. The thing that they can do is just don't sign up for this Live Nations on the road again thing. You know what I mean? Now I get it, because it's that low hanging fruit sitting there.
That's what it is, exactly.
And I don't, like I said, I understand as a touring band, and you're probably sick of losing money or not making any money, and like, why am I going to do this? And if you're like, well, we got one last shot at it, let's just do it this way. But all you're doing is continuing to put that nail in the coffin by doing it. You know what I mean? It's like, so. Like I said, I don't believe in telling anybody what to do with their life, especially musicians. I'm not a musician. I'm not a touring, musician. I don't make a living from it. But let's be honest, I don't think most musicians are making a living doing this anyway anymore. Unless you're a big name, you got that brand already, a big name. I understand younger bands. Look, the thing is this: there is definitely still a huge demand for live music. I mean, it's not like people aren't going to see live music, even with the ridiculous prices.
Yeah.
They're still paying these tickets. Like, you're right, though. A lot of people are not buying drinks like they used to. Like you said, maybe 1, 2 tops because it's just way too expensive.
But there's never a queue for the. There's never. I haven't. There's no, like, there might be a line for the bar, but people are picking up maybe 1 or 2 beers. The days of the bar going back 10 deep, that's gone.
Oh,
Nobody's
it's
doing
gone.
that anymore.
No, yeah.
Gone. It's still, and it's the cost is huge, and then obviously you just can't chance driving 10 miles with 4 beers on board or whatever. People don't want to do that.
Well, and I also think I like so I think when I was younger in my 20s, I mean, look, I don't know a lot of money, but I would use the money I did have. I'd go out when I go to a show. It was just I went all out. I drank as much as I wanted to drink, and I felt like drinking, and I bought whatever I wanted to buy.
T-shirt and all this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
There
was no like, oh shoot, I only have this much money, or I mean, I would save up. I knew I was going to go pay a lot of money, but I would go and spend. If I spent $100, I went to a great show. I got really drunk, and I came home with like at least 1 or 2, pieces of merch or memorabilia.
Yep.
And that was well worth it right there. $100, that's fine. If I drank 5 beers, get to a show and came home with a shirt or two, I'd be $100. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
But these days it's more the youth I look at, because that's what funneled and kept those bands going, is because we could afford to do that. But now you're asking, kids that, first of all, I mean, there's the job, I don't want to get too into politics, but it's not a good economy. So the young kids aren't making much money. I mean, older people aren't making much money either. But they're going to go to a show, but they're not going to keep replenishing that back. They're not going to buy probably T-shirts or they maybe buy 1 T-shirt, but they're not buying drinks, like you said, because they can't afford it.
How much is a T-shirt? $30, $40?
Well, even that, exactly. The T-shirt's not $10, $15 anymore.
But first of all, there's less less people going to concerts, especially smaller venues. You get 4 or 5 beers, which is not a lot of alcohol over 2 or 3 or a night. There's arguably $70 right there. T-shirt $30, $100. Ticket probably cost you $50, so you're spending $150 for 90 minutes entertainment. People go, I'm not doing that. That's why. So therefore, they won't do it. So
kids can't do that, and kids want to go. Listen, I went to shows all the time as a kid, right? I mean, much more than I could do now. I mean, I could do now because I can afford it more now, but I'm just not going to do it now because I'm not. You're a kid. I think when you're a kid, you're not looking with the you don't look at your financial and your economic thing the same, right? You're not sitting there going like,
you don't give a shit.
You don't give a shit, exactly. You got money. I'm going to burn this money until I get my next paycheck, and that's it. You live paycheck to paycheck, so it didn't matter. But kids can't even do that now. So I think because we're not replenishing. We've been talking about we're not replenishing bands, let alone fans.
Nope.
And that's the thing too. Because I mean, someone's going to go there and go, "This is fun," but I can watch this online, or I can do this, or whatever it is. They'd rather just do something else.
But I think too, I'll give you a prime example. So this Sunday, as we record this, it's Thursday. So 3 nights from now, we're 2nd of May as we record. But Queensryche and Armored Saint are coming to town.
Okay.
Now I saw Armored Saint less than a year ago, and I think I saw Queensryche about a year ago. And Queensryche are coming back within the EP in the first album, and I go, well, kind of saw it a year ago. So I'm a prime example of someone who's not going. Saw it a year ago, Sunday night, got to get up at 6:30 Monday morning.
Fuck it, no.
Nah, fuck it, I'm not going. So there's another example
right there
of my age. This is nothing to do with alcohol, beer, food, nothing.
Sure.
Because I would have driven in, and I know the spot I get free parking. So there's from a money perspective, it's going to cost me $50. I'm just not that interested in going because they're touring a little bit too much, and it's a Sunday. And that pisses me off because I don't want to get home at midnight, get up then at 5:30. And then for me, then my sensible head, you're getting home at midnight, then the dogs are barking, you wake up the whole house and lights are going off.
Yeah, these are things you got to think about. I know it's like you said, you're not just some spring chicken in a 1-bedroom apartment. It doesn't work that. So that's a great example too. Like you said, I mean, if you're not playing on a Friday or Saturday night, I mean, your attendance is going to go down. I mean, right there, just automatically, like you said, you're playing from a Sunday to a Thursday.
And they were back here about a year ago. So what's the appetite to see it again?
Well, that's the other thing.
Sure about that. I guess I Armored Saint I can't remember what saw it, but I know it was definitely within a year. No real desire to go second time.
Well, not within a year. No, and that's the thing too. I did same here. It's really I'll only go to see If I'll only go to shows during the week unless it's either someone I haven't seen in a long time or I've never seen before, or it's a
Or it's a
band.
monster lineup, or
Monster,
like
yeah,
yeah, I saw Testament and Creator coming. They're not actually
yes.
coming to Charlotte, the Mofos. They're
Oh, they're
touring in
not,
the
huh?
US, and I looked at it.
Mm.
Fuck. Now that's if that was a Tuesday night, I was going because
Sure.
I've seen both bands, and I saw Creator about less than 2 years ago. Unbelievable. I haven't seen Testament in a while, but that I would go to. But yeah, I
Mm.
think you just get older, you start picking shoes, and you do look at the date.
You do.
I see, oh, such and such, they're coming on the 20th or whatever. And I go straight in the calendar, go, fuck, it's a Wednesday. And that will actually not stop me from going, but it could influence my decision to
Of
go or not.
course. Well,
Yeah,
also, if you just saw a show and all of a sudden this, like I was going to go, there was a like I said, I'm going this Saturday to Biohazard. There was a show last weekend. I forget what it was that I saw. Just a more of a local kind of band, more of
right.
the stoner and doom stuff. But I wanted. I'm sorry, no, it was a week ago. This band called Danova. They're like, you probably like them. They're like a classic sort of metal / new wave of British heavy metal type of band out of Portland here. They're in within the heavy rock sort of stoner rock scene, but they're not really. They used to be a little bit more stoner, but they're really more classic metal. Great, I mean, phenomenal guitar work, great band. And I haven't seen them yet. And they're playing here in San Francisco, but it was on a Thursday. It was just last week. I'm already spending, paying a lot going this weekend to see the show. I'd have to then take, because I can't go out on a Thursday, get home at 12, and I have to get 5:30 after having 2 beers. I can't do it.
No.
I got to teach kids. I can't do it. So I just couldn't go, and that was the thing too. If it was a month before or 3 or 4 weeks later, 2, 3, 4 weeks later, yeah, I would do it. But being only a week within each other, a timing thing is bad. There's just, like you said, it's just, these are all things. And I know it's not going to be perfect when bands tour. They just have to line up a tour and cross their fingers and hope, people come. I get it. You know what I mean? I totally get it. But that, like you said, because there's now these younger fans are going to these shows, because I think about it, we were kids. It didn't matter what night of the week it was. I'd go.
No, I never give a shit. Never.
I'd wake up 4 hours later after being drunk and go to work because I could. I mean,
Yeah.
I was able to. I was able to recover. My body and mind can't recover like that. Even if I have 2 or 3 beers, I still feel like shit the next day.
Me too. Yeah, I do. It
Yeah,
doesn't stop me from drinking, but
no, of course not.
Like, but whatever. But yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but just again, just to throw it out there to anyone who's listening to this, it's like, we really need people to go and support these local venues. I mean, just quickly, and we'll wrap this up, but I just don't understand people that aren't into discovering new music. I don't get how you really love metal or music in general, and you're just set on listening to Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and Metallica, and then that's it. It's like, don't you want to see some of these up and coming bands before they get big, or be one of the first ones to say, I saw that band when they were playing this shitty little club and with 20 people there. Like there's the band Elder that went out with Tool. I got a friend that he saw them at like a venue that had like 20 people in it. And then they go about 5 years later, they're opening for Tool on a massive world tour.
Yeah, 20,000 people a night, so go figure.
Yeah, and those shows are intimate. You could talk to the band, and it is cheaper. I mean, they aren't going to charge $50 a t-shirt. It might be 30, but it's not 50 or whatever it is. But I just hope people will. We need people to support this, or it's so detrimental to the future of music. I really don't think people get it. I don't.
No, they don't. I don't think, and I think it could be too late too. When these bands are gone or the venues are gone, and that it could be a problem. But look, we're rock fans, we're metal fans. We're getting older, so we are a bit more discerning. But conversely, like we contributed. I've been to hundreds of gigs over the years, and I don't regret one of them. I had a great experience or some form of an experience at every one of them. So it's easy not to do something and then go, oh fuck, I should have went to that band when they came to town. But it is what it is, I think, and I think we're just living in that society.
We are, as like you said. I don't think there's much we can do about it, but just to keep people informed, and hopefully the U.S. Department of Justice. I have no faith in it. Trust me, I don't. But
no,
very, very. This very little hope. At least I'm happy having that something will get done to stop this shit, because like I said, it's it sucks. Anyway, all right.
Yep.